Hi, welcome to the podcast by Dr. Sushma Singh. Let us start conversation on Unit 16, Education in Europe, Case Studies 2. And we are continuing our topic Education in Europe, and subtopic is Tertiary Education. Tertiary education plays a central role in the development of both human beings and modern societies as it enhances social, cultural, and economic development, active citizenship, and ethnic values. At European level, education in general and high education in particular are not subjects of a common European policy. However, according to Article 149 of the Tertiary Amsterdam, the communities shall contribute to the development of quality education by encouraging cooperation between member states through a wide range of actions such as promoting the mobility of citizens, designing joint study programs, establishing networks, exchanging information, or teaching languages of the European Union. The treaty also contains a commitment to promote lifelong learning for all citizens of the Union. Therefore, the community has a complementary role to play to add a European dimension to education, to help to develop quality education, and to encourage lifelong learning. All the recent European summits from Lisbon 2000 on underlined the contribution of education in setting up the European Knowledge Society. The main tool for putting this ambition into practice is the Socrates programs, which contains an action specifically focused on higher education. It supports it and encourages exchange of students and teachers, the launching of joint study programs or intensive courses, pan-European thematic networks, and other measures aiming at the development of a European dimension in higher education. The second phase of Socrates program will end in 2006, and Socrates will be replaced by new educational programs. In terms of quality assurance in higher education, a European network was set up in 1999 following a pilot project and a recommendation adopted in 1999. In 2003, the Commission adopted two major communications on the future of higher education in Europe: investing efficiently in education and training, an imperative for Europe, and the role of the universities in the Europe of knowledge. At the same time, the higher education sector and institutions are fully involved in the European initiatives presently ongoing in the field of e-learning, in the area of lifelong learning, as well as in the European Year of Languages 2001. Moreover, in 1999, ministries from 29 European countries signed the Bologna Declaration, which aims at the establishment of a European area of higher education by the end of this decade. This area should facilitate mobility of people, transparency and recognition of qualification, quality and European dimension in higher education, attractiveness of European institutions for third country students. The total public and private investment in higher education in European Union in 2001 was 1.28% of GDP. compared to 2.5% in Canada and 3.25% in USA. The three highest spending European Union countries are Denmark with 2.8%, Sweden with 2.3%, and Finland with 2.1%. So far we have studied about the European education system, which consists of 25 European countries. In the forthcoming section, we shall give a brief history and current educational development of selected countries in Europe. Now let us move to the next point, educational scenario in some European countries. The first country is Belgium. The education in Belgium was being offered for three different communities, that is French, German and Dutch speaking communities. After the social movements at the end of the 1960s, there was an innovation in Belgium. This innovation was presented as being mainly a means of achieving real democratization of education with the aim to make access to higher, even general academic education easier for the less favored children too. Within the scope of the first innovation, it was possible to create an inter-age group 5 to 8 with the aim to smoothen up the transition between the preschool education and primary school. The law of July 19, 1971 established a new type of secondary education, reformed secondary education system. In the first 2 years of secondary education, the splitting up in different courses or sections was replaced by 2 years. The law passed on May 19, 1914 described compulsory school attendance for all children between the ages of 6 and 12 and decided that the utmost age of compulsory attendance had to be increased gradually to 13 and then to 14. However, this law was only implemented after the First World War. In 1970s, pupils ended their school career at an average age of 15 years, 8 months. The law of June 29, 1983 fixed the end of compulsory full-time and part-time school attendance at the age of 18, 12 years in school. This reform aimed at a guarantee for better qualification of young people to enable them as a result to have an easier access to professional life. As this law delayed the beginning of professional life, it helped as it were to reduce the constantly increasing number of unemployed young people. In 1830, when Belgium became independent, there were 3 state universities, Ghent, Leuven and Leuven. The law of 1835 on higher education acknowledged 2 free universities and 2 state universities. In the 19th century, all universities and colleges of higher education with an academic level were French speaking, as was the public for which these schools were meant, that is the upper classes. Since the 1960s, higher education outside university has grown much more than university education. At present, a reform of higher education is taking place. This reform has to be seen in the light of the Bologna Declaration signed in 1999 by the ministers of education of 29 European countries. The declaration intends to create a European educational area in order to bring more unity in European education. On April 4, 2003, the Flemish government approved the degree on the structuring of higher education. Here we wind up this conversation, and thank you so much for choosing this podcast.